This is the Tony Saragusa and Jason Cameron podcast. Here's Jason and Goose.
All right, this is our, what day is this?
I don't know. What are we? What day is this? What time
Here
is
we
it?
go.
We don't even know what time it is, Goose. What time is it? We'll be calling
Joe,
you soon.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
We'll be calling
to
you
meet you.
soon for dinner.
Clemenza's.
Yeah.
How many hours you going?
I don't know.
Every day you do.
I know.
5 hour specials.
You're going to be our food sponsor, man.
There you go.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We'll explode.
I'm stuffed. I mean, that Cavatelli's.
Gavadils. Yeah.
Cavadillos. Yeah, see.
Yeah, you got it. Go home. Your wife will be all happy you said Gavadils.
Cavadillos. Are you saying with a G or with a something?
Yeah, it's just that's the way you got
it.
it. My grandmother. Go get the Gavadils.
So Goose, I got to tell you something because we were talking about your cabin. We were just talking about Joe's cabin. He built his own, right?
Right.
You're redoing.
That's the new thing. Like
Yeah,
the Alaska shows on TV are like off the charts.
Building off the grid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's insane. I mean these guys are nuts because that's old school because they're doing it any way they can. I mean the generators, we don't have generators. They just use power. They don't use power or they use the battery operated tools. When they don't have that, they go back to hand tools. But I was doing a project. I'm doing a lot of tiling right now, right? And
me too. Up at the cabin, we're putting tile on the floors.
All right, so I got to get you one of these. The IQ Power Tools has come out with their dry cut saw. So
what?
So check this out. So
what is it? It's like one of the big ones with the wheels that you do the driveways.
They have that. They have a concrete saw.
Concrete, right?
That is just like you've seen with the big blade on it, but theirs has an onboard vacuum system and an onboard filtration system, so you don't have to use water. You know the old ones. I'm talking concrete saws.
Yeah, you can't use concrete saw inside because it'll get everything wet.
Well, you can't use it anywhere near the inside, but you wet it down and it just makes a big mess. Theirs has an onboard vacuum system which takes in most of the dust. Now they have a tile saw. This thing's incredible because I've been using it for the last 3 weeks. It's a dry tile saw. Just your normal tile saws, they put the water in the bottom and it works off of water.
Sure.
And it makes a huge mess because you got to get the rain gear on. We wear those plastic garbage bags on us, and you make a huge mess and spits dust everywhere. His new saw, the new tile saw, and I've got it up right here because I wanted to show you a picture of this. Or I know what you're going to ask me. You're going to ask me to get you one. But this is their.
Now, where are these? Where's this company at?
This is their IQTS 244. You know what, Stu? Do me a favor. Call up Joel. I want to introduce you to Joel. Joel's the owner. I know Joel really well. He teamed up with me on a show once.
Oh, okay.
And I was so impressed with his stuff. See if you can get him on the phone.
Now, where's he located at?
I don't know where Joel's out of. You know what? You can ask him when he picks up. I'm not sure where he's. But this tile saw, dude. I've been cutting porcelain tile all day. And he's got a proprietary blade on this. It's a standard. It's a diamond saw blade, but it's specifically made for this machine, and it doesn't heat up. So you can cut tile all day long, and it's got an onboard vacuum and filtration and dust collection system.
Hello, this is Joel Gooch,
We're gonna get his.
Does he know I'm calling?
I don't know if I thought he did.
Maybe he needs your number. That's
Maybe.
the problem.
No. He knows. We'll try him again in a minute because he can explain this better. But it's got an onboard filtration system, a suction system, and it's dust collection. So all day long you're cutting, right? And it takes 99% of the dust into the machine.
Come on.
No, I'm serious.
Hello, Joel?
Yes, it is.
Joe, there you go, buddy. How are you, Joel?
I'm doing good.
I was just talking to Goose about some projects we're working on, and I was singing your praises for IQ Tools and the dry cut tile saw that I've been raving about. So Goose was looking at me, shaking his head like he was in disbelief that this thing would actually cut tile all day long without spitting a lot of dust all over the place.
Well, it's for real.
Yeah.
Now, where you located at, Joel? Where do you manufacture this stuff? I mean,
We're based in Southern California. We design and build our tools here in Southern California.
Okay.
And then we distribute across the country to contractors.
So what does it have? A fan that sort of has like a vacuum system?
Yes, it's got a three-stage vacuum system with cyclones that separate out the dust, and then the filter, which cleans the air, and then the vacuum pushes out the clean filtered air.
How often do you have to change the filter?
Once a year.
That's it. Once a year, dude. I've been using it for
Once
3
a
weeks straight.
year?
Joe, I was telling Goose, I've been using it for 3 weeks straight, cutting porcelain tile, and the blade doesn't heat up. They've got it. Now, tell me, Joel, a little bit about this because I know that's a proprietary blade, right? You guys specifically designed that blade for your machine, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of testing to get a blade that would work and stay cool and cut effectively for lots of different types of, whether it's porcelain or granite or whatever it might be.
Yeah, because we're not using water. And just so people who are listening who have done tile cutting, the typical way that we've done this in the past is we use a wet saw, and which
Correct.
we affectionately call the mess saw, because you fill it with water. You got to put rain gear on. Goose and I have done this many times. You cut a hole in the garbage bag, and you make a mess, right, Joel? So I mean, your blade, that was your dilemma, right, when you came up with this machine?
Yes, developing that blade to go with the system. And if you run a temperature on it, that blade will run about 10 to 15 degrees above ambient temperature. So
Wow.
It stays cool, and the vacuum will extract the dust and cool the blade at the same time, making it last longer.
See, a lot of people don't know this. You see all these vacuum systems on TV, the Dyson, and all these different vacuums. The worst and the toughest thing to go and vacuum up is dust. So the smaller the particle, the more that the motor's got to work, and the more that it clogs everything up, and it sort of gets like a paste if it gets wet. I mean, I can't believe that this filter just once a year, and there's 3 filters. You said, Joel?
It's a 3-stage filtration. The final one is a HEPA level, and it filters out particles 1 to 5 microns in size. It's very, very fine dust that comes off of that.
And I'll tell you, Goose, I can testify to this because I've been using it indoors. Now, normally when I use in the past when I use a wet saw indoors, it still made a mess.
Right.
So I can take the IQ Tools one. I can take their dry cut saw indoors, and it makes very little dust, which is incredible because you're going to be working right next to where you're working inside, and you don't have that issue, right, Joel? I mean, that's huge.
Yes, it meets the new silica standard for 50 micrograms or less per day, or in breathable air.
Wow, it's incredible. So let me ask you, Joel, because
awesome.
I was telling Goose that you started was your first tool, because I've worked with you on a couple shows of Desperate Landscapes. Was your first tool the concrete saw?
The very first thing we built was for our own crews as a mason contractors. We built one for a 14-inch table saw, and then built one for a 20-inch masonry saw, and then we did the 14-inch 360, and then the handsaw, 2 versions of the handsaw.
Yeah. So what is your
a whole line of products?
Yeah, you got a whole line, and I definitely recommend people to go to your website. Joel, what is your website that people can go to?
It's iqpowertools.com.
All right, and then the one that I used, Joel, when I first met you was the concrete saw, right? That you have the onboard vacuum system on it, right? Goose, the concrete saws, you see them use all the time.
I
they make
used
a mess.
last week.
Yeah, they make a mess.
No, I was doing pavers, when you got to cut the edge, you got to mark it and
dust
cut
storm.
it. And
yeah.
Forget about it.
So Joe, that was the one when I first met you, and that was pretty incredible. The fact that we're using that without hosing it down.
That's the PC912. That's a power cutter with integrated vacuum system, filter system, and dust containment. I always say, Jason, you learned how to run that thing. Within 5 minutes, you mastered it.
Yeah.
You made it look good.
Yeah, and I think anybody really, just by and it's a learning curve, right, Joel? I mean, you use these things, and within the first couple times, you start to pick it up, and you realize how easy they are to use. And just looking at it, I think some people get a little nervous. But when you start using it, you realize how easy it is to use. And the fact that you're standing there not covered in dust is really incredible.
Yep, it takes somebody who wants to master it, and it takes, it's a professional tool.
Yeah, so let me, Joel, I obviously, as a contractor myself, and Goose, his whole family's in the industry, you deal a lot with contractors, but have you noticed a lot of the DIYers and people that, aren't necessarily contractors who do a lot of work, have you noticed them really start to take notice?
They are taking notice. People are sick of this dust.
Yeah.
They don't want the contractors using it, and if they're doing a project around their house, they don't want that dust getting everywhere, because once it gets in your house, gets in your ventilation system, you never get rid of it.
Right.
So using a product, whether it's a wet saw or using vacuum technology products that keep the dust, capture it right where it's created, and eliminate the mess.
Yeah, especially silica dust, right? Because that's nasty.
Yes.
Yeah. And how many? And Joel, how long have you been in this business? You've been in masonry for how long?
I grew up in the masonry business. My dad was a mason and a mason contractor, so I've been in it over 30 years. And my brother and I, we understand what it's like being out there in the job and trying to find solutions. So you need tools that help you solve the problem.
Yeah, OSHA must love you.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do. They're happy with what we're doing and how we're trying to educate the industry.
Well, you're setting a new standard, right? I mean, you really set a new standard in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. So, but I've been praising about it. I wanted to get you on the phone because I've just finished a project I was doing, and we were cutting porcelain pretty much all day. And my guys were amazed that we kept cutting on this saw, and there was no dust. And I showed them at the end of the day how you just turn the knob, right? Because you've got what do you call that knob that you turn? Is it just a clean knob or a clean out knob?
Yeah, you just spin the filter,
Yeah.
rotate the filter around one time, and then open up and empty the dust tray.
So, Goose, at the bottom of this thing where he's got the filtration
Right.
system, he's got the suction, the filtration, he's got the dust collection, is a tray. And there's a little lever you pull, and it drops the tray. And in that tray is all the dust. And you just dump the – it's incredible. You just dump the tray, and you're done. And the cleanup is simple. So, I was really impressed with it, man, because, sometimes you see these products like, yeah, okay. And then you use it, you're like, wow, you're blown away by it.
That's awesome, man. I got to check it out. I got to cut some tile, man.
Yeah. Goose wants
We're
to
doing
tell some
I'm doing a job. I bought I bought a cabin in upstate New York, and we're doing a tile floor right now. We did a mud job, screen down, mud job, and then now we're laying some tile and putting some up on the walls in the bathroom too. And I'm gonna, and it's just a pain in the neck when you do it on the second floor. You got to walk down the steps all the way outside, to cut.
Well, then you got to go water.
Oh.
You got to find water. So, Joe, maybe you can hook Goose up here. Maybe,
I want to definitely try this thing out now.
You got to do a video though, man. If you working on it,
let's do it. I'm ready. Well, I appreciate it, Joel. Thanks for your time, man.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, Joel, thank you, man. I'll be in touch, Joe, because I want the video I just did. I want to send it to you so you can see it.
Great.
All right. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Joel.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Yeah, dude, I tell you what, man, I've been cutting tile for a long time, man. We've done it on the show many times.
Dude, it's cool how many new products are out there. Like if somebody wanted to go, people like gadgets, especially guys like gadgets, what would be the best show to go to? I know you do all the building shows and stuff, to go and see all the new gadgets.
Well,
which one is it?
KBIS every year is and CE. Well, KBIS is a big one. That's the International Builder Show.
Right.
IBS and KBIS, the kitchen and bath.
Where's that at?
This year it's in Florida. It goes back and forth between Vegas and Florida. And I think this year it's still in Florida. And then there's CES, which, that's like the grand,
Granddaddy?
puma of any show for technology. Because I was out there with FLIR last year.
Right.
FLIR, right?
Sure.
The thermal imaging. And but dude, walking through, you're like a kid in a candy store. You're like, oh my God, look at that! Oh my God, look at that! You can't even with your ADD. You'd be like,
forget it. I'd be broke.
Oh, you'd be broke, man. Because
Jeez.
that stuff that you see there is just like even the drones that they had. I mean, you're talking like the drone. There was a drone the size of this table.
Have you come across? Listen, up at the farm, I got 65 acres, right? And I want to go, and there's apple trees. There was an orchard, and a lot of the apple trees have been overtaken by all little saplings and all little weeds and stuff like that. Is there a machine that has a saw that's vertical that you can go up and just cut trees down?
There is.
There is.
Listen, I know I've seen it. What you're talking about, I can't think of the name of it, but I can.
Because you got me all fired up with these goats.
Yeah.
The goats going in, and you were telling me earlier.
Goats. Yeah, the goats.
You go and hire. Okay, what was it? You hired what? A guy?
We hired somebody to come out. They had goats, obviously, but they would provide a service. You hire them, they come out, and if you want to clear part of your landscape, but you don't want to because there's a lot of poison this, poison that, you cage the area off, you fence it off, you send the goats in there, and they devour everything. They clean it out for you. It's incredible.
Everything. Sticker bushes.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you would think the thorns and the poison oak, the poison ivy, they love it. They chomp it down. It doesn't affect them. It's incredible. I was blown away by it, man. I was like, okay, thanks guys, sending the goats away. I was like, and they're cute. They're cute goats. I mean, you can't, So
that's a hell of a business, man.
That's a hell of a business.
Free food.
But I know what you're talking about. You're talking about a machine that's got a low cut thing on it, right? You wheel it in, it's got a low blade on it, and it cuts.
Yeah, something. It can't be too wide because you got so much stuff you got to cut and a lot of big trees. And, I need something almost like with a, if you almost got a circular saw, turned it sideways and mounted it on the front of a thing.
They have something like that. What you need is a cool one that's a remote control that you can just stand up there in your thing. It's got the camera on it, and you can just send it around. A little robot with a cutter on it.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I like that one.
We'll see what's out there.
We got to find something like that.
Yeah, we got to find something. But, listen, in the world, we've seen it, when you and I work together on projects, we've seen the transition in this industry is fast.
It is.
And technology changes so fast. But even in the tool industry, like Joel was a good example of that. It was wet saw for years. It was always a wet saw. When we cut tile, it was a wet saw. He now came out with this product that's going to change the industry.
So what we have to do is, just starting this thing off, this podcast, we're going to get a website, and all the cool things that we find, we're going to load them up on our website.
Without a doubt.
You go to strip joints, right, Jason?
No, never.
Never.
There's never
Okay.
been in one. Just every time you've gone.
Yeah,
I've gone with you.
So
Hold on. It's funny Goose asked me that because a lot of times, if we would go, come on down. Goose would have a private room, and he had like a private area, right? So I'm like, cool, this is great. Goose got a private area. So we go in with my buddies, and Goose would be like, yeah, come on in. And he'd throw a bunch of money on the table, right? Have a good time. And next thing you know, we look around, Goose is gone. I'm like, where did Goose go?
How'd it go?
Hey, he left. He was there, and he leaves. I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna have a good time. And I'm like, what happened?
After a while, I get aggravated. All the little, they're con, and this and that. It's just, I want to see I want to see girls with talent. Like I want to see somebody entertaining.
Well, they got talent.
You know what I'm saying? Not just standing there with a bathing suit and come and ask me for $1. Like, listen, just go and dance around. Like, let me see you get a little bit of A stripper with no rhythm is like a bull with tits. You gotta. Yeah. So I'm pretty particular. I've been to a bunch.
Do you remember the show we did where we? It was for the kid who you took him into the Ravens to meet the Ravens, and we did that big room where we had the rotating
the
floor.
The NFL one.
Do you remember the guys that were there for the hydraulic thing that we were using? Remember that crew that came in?
Oh, the platform?
The platform.
Yeah, the wall slide thing.
So one of the guys on the crew was deaf, and he read lips. You remember that guy?
Yes,
I don't know if you remember.
I
him.
do remember.
Funny dude, but he didn't speak. He kind of he would read your lips, and he would mime, or he could say a few things, but he would use some sign language. Funny guy.
I do remember.
So I don't know if you remember. I don't know. You were there first, but then you left. We went to a strip club after that. They all came. Everybody came. The guys came out. You were there for like 5 minutes, and then you disappeared.
Yeah, not that good. Go ahead.
And you disappeared. So we were hanging out. My guys, the crew,
right?
They were going to leave, and we were in like 15 minutes. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? We just got here. Come on, let's relax. Let's have a good time. They start to leave. So I'm following them outside to try to talk them into staying, right? And I didn't realize that guy was behind me, the guy that, reads lips. He was right behind me, following me outside. I didn't know he was there. And as I'm talking to these guys, asking them to stay, trying to convince them, now we're leaving. And he taps me on the shoulder, right? And I turn around, and it's him. And he's looking at me really funny, and he's pointing to the guys. He's laughing and pointing at the guys as they walk away. And I'm like, I don't know what he's trying to say, right?
Right.
And he goes like this. It's hard to explain what I'm doing, but he puts his hand on his, you put your hands together and you put your
head
face
on your hands like you're sleeping.
Like you're sleeping, and he makes that look like they're sleeping. And then he goes like this. And he transitions to the pose where he's...
Oh,
so
they're
like,
going to go home and whack it.
They're going to go home and whack it. But he used the whole sign language thing to explain it. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's what they're doing. I thought it was the funniest thing.
They're going to go home, make believe they're going to sleep, but they're all excited. They're going to go get their nut off.
I thought it was funny.
Great.
I didn't even know it was behind me. I'm like, okay, that's what they're doing. Anyway, I thought
so you know sign language too now, James.
Yeah, I know those sign languages. Yeah, those are easy ones.
That's tremendous. That is tremendous.
Funny times.
Do you ever see these girls like they're upside down? They slowly slide.
Oh, they're impressive, man.
Dude, let me tell you something. That shit ain't easy.
No, I was impressed.
You think you take it. Like going out to the side like a flag. It's amazing how strong they are.
It's funny when you're watching, because I'll be in these clubs and I'll be watching and I'm like, I'm so amazed at what they're doing. I'm like, is anybody else like as impressed as I am? I mean, they're hot, but I'm impressed with what she's doing on that damn thing.
That's entertaining. I'll stay if that's happening.
All right.
Yeah, they had this one place down in Fort Lauderdale that I went to one time, and they had like almost like a trapeze where the girl had like this material hanging down, and she would wrap herself in material.
The aerial acrobat.
Like I was in Vegas at the, like one of those shows. It was amazing.
I know a girl who does that. Her, she's an aerial acrobat. That's what she does. And she'll be hanging from these sheets. It's a sheet, and she'll just drop and just be rolling out of the sheet, and then boom, she stops.
It's amazing,
dude. It's incredible. I'm very impressed with that stuff. So.
You have this man cave built during the show, before the show, or after?
Before the show, I built this. Yeah, and then I modified it while the show was going on. Some of the guys that we worked with, and
you had what's her name come in and help you out with it a little bit. One of the designers.
Yeah, well, that's when we did a shoot here. She bought some cheap ass furniture. It all broke. I almost killed myself. Broke my neck. But it's got to be. It's got to be. When you buy furniture and you're a normal size, Jace, you're a normal size. Me and Stu. Like, you got to buy fat stuff.
Listen,
it's got to have a rate. Like, they should have ratings. Like this is an A where, you could be 600.
Kind of like shopping in big and tall, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I would always tell people when they asked about the stuff we built, I'm like, listen, we can build all kinds of shit, but it's got to be Goose approved.
Oh, dude, it's got.
You know,
Listen,
if you can't
if
sit
I'm
in it or
comfortable,
stand on it,
But if I'm
then-
comfortable, everybody's going to be comfortable.
There you go.
Because
Exactly.
unless you're, a couple of the guys that I played with, that are bigger than me. I mean, I'm
there weren't too many bigger than you when you were playing, though, was there?
No. I mean, yeah. Well, when I was playing, I was one of the top, bigger.
What was your
guys.
heaviest weight?
Probably 355.
Damn.
Yeah, it was. But you needed it, man.
I
it
know
was
you needed it,
pounding,
but that's a lot of weight, man, you're carrying around.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure you're putting under.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was the calves, Stu. That's the secret to his
Yeah,
success.
that's the anchors.
It's the calves.
Yeah, the man cave down.
Dude,
here
you
can't
got
take
you.
it.
Can I just? Have you ever? You wear shorts, but you've got ridiculous. That's genetics, dude. You were just.
Yeah,
you
they're
think
just.
you're stupid big,
Yeah, they're stupid big.
freakish.
If you want, Jace, I can set up a table, put Goose on there if you want to massage his
Hey, listen,
calves.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what. You've seen those things, all right? I'm just saying
They're
that's very
ridic-
impressive.
yeah,
It's very
are.
impressive.
They are. They're like
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't. Like I always want to wear like I gotta. How about this? I have a hard time buying boots. Like I would buy custom boots,
Yeah,
like
forget it.
ostrich.
You're not getting them over that.
No, but they have to be extra wide at top. I had to put elastics on it so it would go over my calf. It's embarrassing.
Trying to picture those in boots.
Yeah, like how like them little, like how them little skinny guys wear them like skinny, skinny jeans or whatever. I could never.
Yeah.
Forget about it, man. My legs would have to be amputated because it would cut off the circulation.
Yeah, you would lose your legs.
Yeah. But I did like, one thing that I did like was my wife came up with the idea of putting the stone inside.
No, I like the stone.
That's
Stack stone.
stack stone inside and dry cut and.
Well, listen, when I finally finish mine, which is under construction now, you'll have to come over.
What do
and
you
give
got to
it the
do?
Stamp of
Let me
approval.
tell you something. See these air conditioners that we were saying how cold it was.
Yeah.
This thing is unbelievable.
Oh, they're great.
These
Yeah, the
wall mounted
the
ones.
Mitsubishi.
And they don't and the compressor outside you can't even hear them.
You can't even hear them.
They're
great.
silent.
They've even got better. This is an older one.
Oh, way
They've
old.
got-
This is
they've
like
got-
15 years old.
Yeah, they've gotten even better.
They put these in edit rooms. It's really works magic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice
because you
And
can
that-
zone them.
Yeah, and they got them for like the middle of the room too. You
Yeah.
could like put them in the middle.
And we did one recently in one of the shows I did in the ceiling.
yeah.
Yeah, they open up.
Yeah, there's
they're-
it's no sense in even having central air anymore when you have these. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, in the basement, I'm tapping off of my central air. I'm just tapping off the
Well, you got to save the $30. You got to save some money. And,
yeah, the $30, dude. $30.
Dude, go get one of these. Call Mitsubishi up. Get one of these. They're like $1,200.
All right, let's get somebody on the
Awesome.
phone, Stu, from Mitsubishi. All right?
Yeah.
Do us a favor.
Mitsubishi.
Well, what state is your man cave at right now?
It's
your
at the-
basement.
It's at the framing state right now. It's
Framing?
partially drywalled. It's almost.
Oh, you got to bring me over for some ideas.
Yeah, dude. That's why. Okay. How many times have I told you to
Today.
come by?
Let's go right now.
All right, let's go. We're gonna go right now. But it's 3/4 drywalled. But I had to get the framing inspection, so I couldn't drywall everything, so they could come in and look at it. I failed it,
You failed the framing inspection?
and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why this.
So he comes in,
Right.
and I missed a small section of fire blocking because they're like anal, dude, about fire blocking. That's what they look at.
Well, did you use
So-
half-inch drywall or
No,
5/8?
I use 5/8.
Right.
I use 5/8, and then you got to. But there's one section I missed, and then I got to come back and caulk it with the fire caulking. I'm
So
like,
you
got
can't
it.
put 5/8 isn't good enough?
No,
It's- I think
5/8 is fine. What I'm saying is I missed a section.
with
I didn't-
5/8.
Yeah, I missed a section, so I failed it. So whatever. I mean, I'll finish it. He'll come back and
So let me ask you this question: Are you framing with wood?
No, I'm framing with wood. Yeah, it's in the
but
basement.
what if you use steel?
Doesn't matter. I mean, you still have a draft. Anywhere if your wall is set up on the foundation wall and there's a gap in between your finished wall and the concrete block wall, and there's an area for fire to get up into the first floor, that needs to be sealed off from the basement up to the first floor. So you got to seal it off. So it doesn't matter if you use steel or use wood. You still have to seal that draft area off, that pocket where the flames can get up. So, but I missed an area, so whatever. I mean, it happens. That's what they're sticklers on now. Hoboken is a good example. And I lived in Hoboken, New Jersey. When I would redo a condo, they would come out, they'd look at 30 seconds, they'd look at your framing, but what they're really looking at is the fire blocking, because that's what they're concerned about, because you're a multi-dwelling. So everything you do affects somebody else.
Right. I understand that.
It's all about fire blocking.
It's all about fire blocking. That's
All about fire blocking.
So now, when's your next inspection? Because down the shore in Tom's River, it's like a 3-week wait for an inspection.
Well, they have 21 days. Typically, in most municipalities, they have 21 days from the time they receive your permitting to the time they can actually take action on it. Now, not all of them do that. Some of them will do the next day or the next week, but they have 21
That should
days.
be illegal. 21
Well,
days.
I mean,
come on.
I agree, dude. This is why I tell most
that's why it costs so much money, and that all that time
listen,
is just
you could've-
carried
you
on
could've
to
been
the
done.
homeowner.
It could have been done.
It's ridiculous.
Listen, I almost didn't even go in. A lot of homeowners feel the same way. Like, I'm not going to go mess with this. I just want to get it done. But at the end of the day, when we go to sell our house and if my basement wasn't permitted, that's going to be a problem. So that's you have to do it. You have no choice. You got to entertain it.
Right.
But it could be a real pain in the butt. We've seen it on man caves.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that when the first season, you and I did this, we did everything. And then we learned early on, no. The homeowner's got to do it. Let them deal with the building inspector. By the time we come into that room, it's drywalled, everything's signed off on.
Yeah. And then we can do our stuff.
Then we can do our stuff.
Do our builds and
we're
stuff
not dealing
like
with
that.
that. And people would ask us that all the time. How do you guys deal with the inspectors? We don't on the show.
Yeah.
The homeowner did. So, anyway.
That piece of wood. How about that piece of wood that I gave you the other day after we did
Dude, that thing was incredible. By the way, how long is it sitting in your garage?
7 years, 8 years.
So Goose has this slab that he brought. He had it shipped in from Costa Rica. I still don't know what species it is.
I don't know either.
But it was a big tree. That's probably, 4 feet in diameter?
Yeah, 4 or 5
At
feet.
least.
Yeah.
Huge, probably 3 inches thick. And you had it shipped in from Costa Rica. What'd that cost you?
A container was like 5 G's for the container, yeah.
The slab was free.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, the slab was free. No, the slab wasn't free, but I got a couple other guys and we, whacked up a container and just shipped it over. But it took like 2 months.
So this thing's sitting in Goose's garage, and Goose says, "Come here, check this out." And I look at it. I'm like, "Why is that sitting there? We got to make a table out of that."
Yeah.
So I took it.
Yeah, it wasn't kiln dried, so it cracked a little bit in different spaces, and I put some bow ties in. And,
Right. I'll put one more in on the bottom because you don't want to see it on the top, right?
Yeah, no.
So we took it to Nature's Fell. I had Goose come over. Nature's Fell, by the way, is a place in what town were they in?
Manalapan.
No, Manalapan. No, it wasn't Manalapan.
No?
No, Nature's Fell. Stu, look up Nature's Fell, will you? What town?
Bound Brook. It was like Bound Brook, right next to Bound Brook.
Somewhere in there. But what Nature's Fell is, Bob, who started Nature's Fell, after Superstorm Sandy, they saw all these trees being wasted because, all these trees came down.
Yeah,
right?
Thousands.
And they thought, you know what, let's start a company where we can take these trees, reclaim them. So he has a mill, and he has a kiln on site and a mill on site.
And a planer.
He's got an amazing,
all kinds of
amazing setup.
Middletown, New Jersey?
No.
What is it?
Nope.
It says Nature's Fell.
Fell.
Yeah, Middletown, New Jersey.
Yeah, Middletown. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Sawmill. In Middlesex, New Jersey.
Middlesex.
Oh, Middlesex. All right. Yeah, Middletown, Middlesex, in the middle. So they started this company, and they've got this incredible shop. And Goose came out there, and they got the mill outside, so you can actually take your tree, right?
Yeah. If you're going to cut a big oak down or a different species on your property, instead of cutting it into little logs, leave it 8 or 10 or 12 feet long.
They'll come pick it up.
And they'll come pick it up, and then you can make slabs out of it or, make furniture, whatever.
But you can go, not only do that, but you can go spend a day with them. You can be a part of it. And then you can actually work with them and build your own thing.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible process. So you came out and teamed up with me because Goose and I are both huge supporters of the troops, the men and women serving in the armed in our armed forces. And I do, and I know you do, whenever you can donate your time to help them out. So we teamed up with American Warfighter Foundation, and the guy Patrick who started it, he takes vets and wounded warriors, and he takes them out on the golf course and uses golf as therapy. So I met him one day at a golf tournament and said, I want to do something for you guys. So we invited him out to Nature's Fell. Bob, Nature's Fell was nice enough to do this, and we built them a table. So they were part of it. The vets came out. They spent all day there.
American flag on the front.
American
really
flag
cool.
on the front. They milled everything from the log, brought it in, made all the cuts, assembled the table. So the vets had a blast. And I'm like, this is therapy. Woodworking is therapy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they loved it. And they built this. So we built this table for them. You were part of that, and they're going to auction that off. They'll probably get $3,500.
Yeah,
that'll go right to the vets.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
So God bless all our vets out there, and
thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service,
big
man.
time, big time,
no doubt. But it's a good place to end, right?
Yeah, perfect, man.
Yeah. God bless our troops.
That's right.